Okay, welcome back. So another quick little video. So we're going to be looking, it's kind of just a bit of a let's have a go and see what happens kind of a video. So the clutch on the 2001 Bonnevilles, some of them are prone to this kind of clutch chatter, kind of a judder, which I've mentioned in previous videos, and it only seemed to affect the 2001 models. Trying to find out exactly what causes it is a little bit difficult. I mean, there are a few avenues, but then also depending on sort of financially what you want to change and what you want to believe and what you can get those parts for. So if you're buying the parts that they are suggesting to change new, it's quite an expensive kind of experiment, if you like. So I'll kind of quickly go over them. So, but I mean, the initial problem, so obviously we got the clutch out because Jen's finding the heavy duty clutch springs with the pods, which are no longer there, a bit heavy. So we've gone back to the standard clutch springs and the airbox. Way back when I was trying to get it sorted out, this kind of clutch judder, it's basically when you just very occasionally when you're pulling off sort of, you know, from roundabouts or from T-junctions, you'll just get this kind of, it feels real shaky. Not that it's slipping, and it doesn't really, it's just very noisy and a bit kind of feels like something's just rattling. It's a little bit disconcerting at first. Certainly when I first heard it, before I knew the 2001 models had the problem, I was a bit like, oh bloody hell, what's gone on? But not all of them suffered from it. Some did. But one train of thought, which I think I touched on in an earlier video. So when I was changing stuff, I was a bit of a dickhead and I managed to break one of the lugs that the clutch lifter plate bolts into. So I ended up having to buy a new clutch basket secondhand, quite very cheaply, luckily, off eBay. And on the back of this clutch basket, sort of on the back side about here, there's, and I'll try and get some pictures offline if I can, because I looked back on the videos and like an idiot, I think I realised, oh, I got that nugget of information after I fitted it, and I'm going to be honest with you, I can't be asked taking it all off and comparing it. I don't think I've got the original clutch basket either. But there's kind of, behind the nut there, there's kind of like a face. It's not a bearing, but I'll try and find a picture to explain. I don't really know what to call it, but the kind of surface area was increased. Hopefully I'll get a picture in now. So you can see that surface area is increased. Now I have a feeling when I got this, I think this is a later model clutch basket, so I'm 80% certain that had a bigger face, and I think in the video I even mentioned that it looked the same as the one I took off even as well, and it hasn't made difference. We still experience sporadic clutch shudder, whatever you want to call it, on this. So that fix, maybe not so. So I was looking around, and some of the other things on the actual clutch itself, so obviously you'd have your actuating arm, which goes down here. There's a spring there, and then a little kind of, I call it a bullet, that comes out, which presses against this plate and pushes the clutch in. Some have suggested changing that, and I was thinking, oh, yeah. But I looked into it a little bit more when we tried the clutch on the EFI Bonneville, and that seemed a lot. It was just a nicer action clutch even than this one, after I got it all buttoned up and with the lighter springs on. So I thought I'm going to have a look at it anyway, and as luck would have it, I found a late model 20, I want to say it was a 2012, 2014, I can't remember exactly, but a late model actuator arm bullet on eBay, 14 quid delivered. I thought I'd give it a go. It's a lot more than that to buy it brand new, but at that price I don't mind taking a bit of a chance. And I noticed before I even bought it, I had a look on eBay, on the Triumph parts, and there are 2 part numbers for these actuating arms. The later models after 2001 have this 1 part number. The 2001 models have both part numbers, so I'm guessing the old one. Now, it arrived. This one here on the right is the original, and this one is obviously the later model one. And you can see straight off, I mean, looking at the actual shaft itself and the cutout for the bullet, so when that's in there, the bullet kind of sits there, and as you pull in the clutch, that turns that, which pushes that out. That's pretty much the same. Let me see if I can do this, get them together. Virtually very little difference, if at all, only possibly slightly different tooling, but I would call those areas exactly the same. Obviously lengthwise and everything the same, but you might have noticed on the actual arm itself a difference. And this one has kind of the dogleg bend is in a different place. It goes out a lot longer, which might add to a little bit more leverage when you're pulling it in to make it easier. So that is quite interesting, that they are different shapes. So that suggests to me a possible improvement. So we're going to give that a go. We're going to put this one in. The bullets as well. So that's the new one, and that's the old one. They are virtually identical from what I can see. I am assuming, of course, that what was in this 2001 was original 2001 parts. There's this very, very slight, like we're probably talking, God, micro, teeny, not even millimeters difference in the length. The new one's slightly longer, a slightly different on the top. So I say slightly different, it is virtually the same, but a slightly larger surface area there. I don't know how much wear you'd expect on these over the years, or on 40,000 miles. But yeah, there is a very slight difference. So that's the new one in length. So that's a tiny bit longer and a slightly larger surface area on that flat. But that's about the only differences I can see. So there we go, we've got those two. So I've either changed that for a newer model basket, or it already had a newer model basket in. Again, I wish I'd had a couple to compare the sizes, but I'm pretty sure that's been covered. I'm going to install this now. So these just, yeah, basically just slides in, locate your spring in the right place. There's a little handy hole on the bottom there to get this spring located correctly. Pop the new bullet in. We'll button it all up, and I'll be interested just to see what the feel on the lever is like. So I'm going to have to put the camera down, get the bits assembled, and we'll pop it on. Right, so start. I haven't changed the seal here, it's not leaking, but I've smeared a bit of engine oil around it anyway. So that slides in there. Actually, what I'm going to do is just find, see where you got like that locating hole there for the spring. A tricky bit. Try and do that here. Okay. So hopefully keep the spring in place. The bullet just drops in there. Remove the arm. Right, let's get it on. Okay, so the clutch cover's back on. clutch cables back together, and I have to say, first impressions, what a massive difference that's made, actually, just to the lightness of the clutch. Yeah, that is hugely different. So it certainly is a much lighter clutch, even just with the change in the actuator arm. As to whether or not that's going to make any difference now with the kind of clutch judder, we'll have to wait and see. The parts have arrived to do the shims, so I'll crack on with that next, get it all back together, and we'll see if that's helps with that at all. But at the very least, clutch is even lighter.